Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Monday, January the 21st. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCBC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. My shirt was a little bright there. Canucks are coming off a 3-2 victory over the Detroit Red Wings. Great to see Pettersson back, 2 points, Bester 2 points, Horvat 1 point, 5 for the big three. Nice to see Roussel get the game-winning goal, assist from Jake Virtanen. Defense played well. Markstrom 35 saves in net. All in all, good game. I did a post-game recap video already yesterday. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks to those of you who watched it already. And in essence, the Canucks are doing very well. They got 8 points of a possible 10 in their first 5 games in their homestand. A chance to make it 10 out of 12 when they wrap up their homestand this Wednesday against Carolina before the All-Star break. Last night, I also recorded some music with Marie Huey, my co-collaborator, my favorite partner in crime, so to speak, and we passed on to the Canucks, and hopefully they'll be doing something within the next couple days. Have high hopes for this song, hint, hint, and we will see what happens with it. Okay, let's talk about the topic of the day, for me at least, and that is looking ahead to next month's trade deadline. I put a poll up on Twitter, and I said, what do you think the Canucks are going to do? Not necessarily what do you want them to do, because what you think they're going to do and what you want them to do may or may not coincide. They may jive or they may not, depending on what you want. But I put 4 options. What do you think the Canucks will do next month? And it was, number 1, be a buyer, i.e. trade 4 veterans for help with a playoff push at the expense maybe of picks and prospects. Number 2 was be a seller, trade away veterans or expiring contracts for hopefully more young players and picks and prospects. Number 3 was tinkering like a hockey trade, a roster player for a roster player. And the 4th one was do absolutely nothing. And I'll talk about the ramifications for all 4 of these, in a couple minutes. But it's very interesting. In 150 votes so far, in just over an hour and a half, it goes like this. The vast majority say tinker, hockey trade. That was at 50%. Then second place came be a seller, 30%, right? Which makes a lot of sense given where we are in our rebuild. Only 18% of you said they'll probably do nothing because they want to see where they go. And then 2%, only 2% said you think the Canucks are going to be a buyer, i.e., trade away prospects and picks for veteran players, and that would obviously be the worst case scenario for where the Canucks are right now. And it's very interesting. I bring this up because Antoine Roussel in Jason Botchford's Athletics column in the Athletic yesterday, Antoine Roussel said, if we win a couple more games, maybe we could look at being buyers, add some depth, add a winger, add a D-man. So it's interesting that Roussel said it. It's interesting that Botchford wrote about it. And if Roussel is indeed the voice of the players, the team, he gives the vibe of the team, as we heard Travis Green went to Antoine Roussel yesterday, again from Jason Botchford, and said, what's the temperature of the team? Then maybe other players are feeling the same way. Maybe they are talking about playoffs, not just making the playoffs, but maybe adding pieces. So they'll be very interesting to follow as we go. And we've talked about the Alex Edler situation, so many ways that could go. Waive, not waive, there's no trade, get traded, not traded, sign, not resign, so many options. But today I want to talk about these 4 on the table right now, what the Canucks are going to do at the trade deadline. And you look at the last few years, and they've kind of done all 3 of the 4 options. 3 years ago, or a few years ago, they did absolutely nothing, and they got raked over the coals for it because they basically let Dan Hamhuis and Radim Vrbata walk away for nothing at the end of the season as free agents, as opposed to getting at least picks or prospects or young players for them. Then you'd say 2 years ago, Jim Benning did his best work at a trade deadline when he moved Jannik Hansen to San Jose for Nikolai Goldobin. We're still seeing how that turns out, but at the time, and it's been proven to be a good trade if Goldobin becomes a roster player or turns into another asset, and Jannik Hansen barely did anything for San Jose. And then the one that I'm very excited about was trading Alex Burrows, although I like Burrows, to Ottawa for Jonathan Dahlen, who may join the Canucks as early as next year. We were hoping even for this year, but didn't have the best preseason. But when you look at it as Hansen and Burrows gone, who end up retiring within Burrows ended up retiring. Hansen's not really doing much, and then the return of Goldobin and Dahlen, that was a good one. And then last year, so that you'd say 2 years ago they did absolutely nothing. 3 years ago they absolutely did nothing, I should say. Then 2 years ago they were sellers, which is good. And then last year they made hockey trades. Traded away Philip Holm to the Vegas Golden Knights for Brendan Leipsic. So not bad, roster player for roster player, fringe player for fringe player. Leipsic, since they put on waivers, so he's not here anymore. And then for Columbus, they traded away Thomas Vanek for Tyler Mott and Jussi Jokinen. Jokinen's gone. but Mott is a mixture on our fourth line. So you could say that was a hockey trade as well, roster player for roster player. So what will the Canucks do this year? Well, I think, only 2% of you say they should be buyers. And, there's one part of the fan base and one part of a small part of me that scares me, that you think that the Canucks are going to think they're further ahead than they are. But, I think that fear, I'd hope that fear is kind of misguided, and that Jim Benning and Aquilini, but most likely Jim Benning, has a good sense of where they are, and they've seen the strides this year, and they know that they can keep making strides with Quinn Hughes, with Jonathan Dahlen, Thatcher Demko, so on and so forth. So why tinker with that? So I'm not worried that they're going to be buyers. I'm also not worried that they're no, that's the wrong way to say it. If they do nothing, I'm actually okay with it. I'm okay if they don't do anything, given the progress, again, same reason that they've made this year, and if they continue to see an upward trend. So I'm not worried if they don't do anything. If they make a hockey trade, I'm fine with that. If it's moving Goldobin for someone who's going to play more, who Travis Green's going to trust more, I'm fine with that, actually. I like Goldobin. I think he has potential, but, the guy we get back may have potential. So whether it's Goldobin, or you move a sixth defenseman, or one of our lower defensemen, or even and this last one, this Brandon Sutter issue, it can be looked at as either being a seller in a good way, get picks or prospects or young players back, or a hockey trade if you get someone else back. And Sutter, that would, moving him, he's got 2 years on his contract after the season. We've seen that we're happy with, obviously, Pettersson and Horvat, and likely happy with Jay Beagle. Beagle's not going anywhere. 4 years, our big free agent signing last year along with Roussel. So maybe Brandon Sutter is the one who could get moved, especially if they want to make room for Adam Gaudette for the next season. So that's the interesting one to me is what will they do along with the Alex Edler situation. What will they do with Brandon Sutter? And if they do move him, will it be a hockey trade, as 50% of you think we're going to do, or will it be more of a sell, i.e. not get someone for this year, but maybe it's picks and or prospects? And that would be, 30% of you are saying that right now. So once again, it's good. A good poll question from a standpoint is there's a lot of differing opinions. 50% of you right now think they'll do a hockey trade. 30% think of you think they're going to sell. 18% of you think they're going to do nothing, and only 2% think that they're going to buy. So Canucks fans, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen, and what do you want to happen? Like I said, they may be exactly the same thing, or they may be two different answers. Leave a comment below. I love to read, react, and reply. This is going to be a very interesting story to follow over the next month, especially as the Canucks stay in hunt, stay in the race for that wild card position, a chance to make the postseason, probably at least 1, 2, even 3 seasons ahead of where we thought they'd be. That is the magic of Elias Pettersson. Leave a comment below. Subscribe if you'd like to. Like this video if you'd like to. Have a great day, Canucks. Not practicing today, doing some charity work, practicing tomorrow, and then one more game before the All-Star break. And then I'm off to San Jose on Thursday night. More on that later in the week. Have a great day. God bless. Oh, that guy was riding fast. God bless, and go Canucks go.